Let's call this meeting to order at 6:01 PM. Do we have a flag here? We do, so let's just sing the flag. What do we do? Nancy makes me leave, so I guess I'll continue. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We do have a quorum. How many do we need for a quorum? Six. We got a quorum, so 6 of 8, perfect. Or 6 of 9, excuse me. Comments for the record, I do not have any. Does anyone on the board have any comments? We have no comments from members tonight unless someone pops in later. Board discussion. 2026 budget planning discussion. Rich, do you want to take off? Kristen wants to take off. How do you want to handle this?
Actually, it was like, I think the planning part is dance.
Okay.
Yeah, so are you asking what do you want? So
I want whoever wants to take off next to go ahead for one of these two.
all right, so planning discussion is really the SWOT analysis information that was sent out about 10 days ago, and thank you for the folks that were able to contribute. For tonight, there's a lot of stuff here. My thought, since this is really designed to be focusing discussion before we start to get into the budget and numbers, that we only talk about kind of all the slides that are in there about board effectiveness. We can take offline and do it, and in a executive session whenever that makes sense down the range. So we don't necessarily go through all 60 pages line by line.
Oh,
yeah, exactly. So before we jump in, any basic process kind of questions about, and I tried to put a bunch of explanation about what SWOT is. I don't know if everyone's had a chance to do this before. I know some people have, some people haven't. But so any kind of overall process, high level questions before we get into the mix. All right. So what my thought process is, since there is a fair amount of information here, and I know my goal was to get this out to you guys, with a little bit of notice so you can read through it. So that didn't happen since you just got it in front of you on 3 months ago. So to me, the goals with this is to review each of the sections, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, and kind of call down some of this to things that we think really resonate, and maybe want to kind of have top of mind as we go through this. And then at the end, talk about the priorities. Obviously it's a lot easier for folks as you'll see, talk about what we want to do more of. It's a little harder to come up with suggestions on what we do less of. And we'll just go through that. So my goal by the end of this is just to have a list of kind of ideas that are concepts that resonate most with all of you. We'll hopefully use that in this initial discussion, and then in the future budget discussion as we finalize things going up. Yep. So if you can go to the next page, Scott, that would be great. So what I did is I took and in your packet is I try to print them out so they're on top of each other so you can see both strengths pages together. I thought it should do that on the screen, but so one just for your sakes, I'm the only one that's had a chance to go through this. So why don't you take a minute, go through this, and then step back and talk about which ones really kind of jump out at you. It's like under housekeeping. So if someone sent it to me as strengths, I didn't try to second guess and say well, that really should be under goal versus overall, that should be under opportunity versus strength. So,
She's still in it.
but
One thing I noticed, I'll take off here. Several people, one of which was my comment as well, just secure community was multiple on here. And then like a volunteerism, community spirit, events, celebrations were multiple things people on this board said.
Yeah, I think a lot of that, the amenities probably.
Yeah, amenities, security and culture stick out.
that's great. Yeah, so,
Can we combine some of these, Dan? I mean, like amazing
just-
natural resources and incredible natural resources. I mean,
I think the point was to get the quantity though. Clearly, there's 9 of us on here. 4 of the 9 thought the secureness was very important that either I immediately got there.
okay, no, I,
yeah, and for this exercise, we're just trying to raise it up to the top level, so to Dylan's point of, you know. For clarity's sake, 5 people provided feedback, 4 out of the 5 people said, you know, something that is probably something we should rise to
Yeah.
the top. So, so yeah, I fun with that. So, and it's interesting. It's probably not necessarily what I want to hear about today, but was going through the vision, mission, values survey. And if you looked at the things that came to the top, it was all that plus kind of, you know, I think culture kind of comes in neighborliness, family oriented, multi-generational. So that makes a lot of sense that those are the things that come up from a strengths point of view. So to me, when I think about strengths, right, it's those things that we have that we should be leveraging to continue to improve, right? A lot of times, if you think about one of the reasons why this analysis is set up this way is you think about improving, you say, well, what are we bad at? How do we fix it? Which is part of it, but it's also what are you good at? And what can you really leverage to get better, build your brand, build the neighborhood, build the property values, whatever you want to use as your metric. And so anyone want to call out anything else that's in here?
I personally think the second from the bottom there, the lower dues values for what you receive with those dues compared to similar properties. I mean, that again is an issue. Not that the rest of these don't. But that's an item that people just keep saying, yeah, but we get a lot here for the money.
Yeah, the value is mentioned. I agree.
And some people in our community may look at that as a negative, the low dues, they would want higher dues to get afford more amenities. Which I'm on the other channel.
True too.
Comparatively speaking,
There's a place where there's a balance.
correct, and we gotta find that
I
balance.
think that's the
our job.
demographic.
Yeah.
We see, you know, people that have been here 20 years fixed income, they see the dues double.
Yeah,
You get
$100 then.
You get new people that come in from Highland Park or something and go.
This is $1,000 a month place compared to that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I've definitely had people come say, why can't we just make dues like double and then they can do all this stuff? So. Yeah. What do you think the split is?
Yeah,
What's the ratio?
yeah,
Don't raise it, needing to, got double.
If Dylan was to guess, I would guess 70, keep them low-ish,
Right.
30 would be $1,000 a month is fine.
That's pretty good.
But it's slowly creeping level.
But it's changing, it's changing. Yeah. It's changing.
There's 200, 300, 300,
Either
400.
dying out or
Yeah.
going away.
But I mean, in the 5 years that I've worked here, whenever I first came, I mean, I think the dues were like $249. And people would come in and complain because we raised it 5%. You know, you're pricing me out.
Mhm.
And then as we have seen some of our older generation move out, pass away, we have a newer generation coming in and I get, that's it. I would happily write you a $10,000 check if I can get this, and this.
I'm actually amazed, some people buy and they don't even realize the dolphin's free.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Normally it's a big thing, they want out a couple times, like they can't believe the dolphin's free.
yeah, they think you should still pay $50 an hour.
Or something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Great idea.
May come.
But I would probably, you know, I agree that things are shifting, but I think there's also a percentage, small, 5-10% there. It's like, how do we make them go
Yeah, no way, yeah, fair.
right? Because, it's tough. It's, I think one of the things we talked about a couple months ago was the dues have gone up 30% over the last 10 years. That's almost exactly the same as the CPE index, which is what social security and disability is based on. Less than inflation overall, but same. So if you're relying on some sort of pension income, some security, disability, dues have gone up, you're not getting ahead in any way. And while everything else, groceries and water, other utilities have all gone up.
That's what a lot of people are complaining about too, when they talk about the cost, they talk about the taxes, the water department, of everybody else, and that's not really us, but it affects their bottom line.
Right.
Yeah.
And people don't understand.
The difference is separation.
Yeah.
No, because we still get people come in and it was like, you've raised my water 33%. And I was like, we didn't.
Well, if I guess,
Yeah.
discussion with a real estate agent that has been out in Kiowa for more than a couple decades, and he did that to me. When I was meeting with them, and UA and SUD have nothing in common.
Right.
And he looks at me like that, and yes, of course, you're wrong there.
Oh, whatever. They've been out here decades, control, they're staying preaching it.
It seems the trick for us, and the boards that come, is to maintain the amenities that really count, like roads and bridges and other things that really count to people. While the 30% kind of trickle, get older and move off, and the 70% gets larger, and say, hey, we'll pay for it. So I mean, you talk about a balance, that's the trick. How do we stay alive with a little 5% increase?
Well, the other thing is, it'd be nice to know where we stack up of similar communities like this, let's say across the United States, and with the comparable amenities and what we pay compared to where would we fit, in that scale. I'm betting down lower towards the bottom.
Well, you could not build anything near this today for what, this is, how old is our community, 70 years old?
And close.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way you could do a golf course, a lake, 2 golf courses, a lake, roads. Sewer, water department.
I have to think that that's a little kind of a nationwide issue. I mean, as the population becomes kind of, I guess, polarized. You have people that are on fixed income, that's gonna be an issue. We have that issue. You have people that have invested well and are doing well and kind of, somebody said finding that middle point, so.
Yeah, I mean, we never will. So, but,
If they're looking for someone or what, then stay.
anything, just-
Is it poker night?
No, there's a lot going on, actually, there's, English club meetings, some of those.
The blood mixture.
Oh, sorry.
And I think they thought they were in here.
so if let's roll on to weaknesses. It's interesting that there's equal weaknesses identified as their strengths.
Weaknesses, I would say, aging infrastructure is on here a lot of times, infrastructure in general. Affordability, which I would argue kind of has to do with that aging infrastructure, because someone dumped utilities and stuff in there. That's part of the reason that 33% happened, because of our aging water lines.
Yeah.
Not the POA's aging water lines, but the SUD's aging water lines that we co-own as members, not as a POA.
And I don't think about financial stability. I mean, we're stable, but, I mean, we're bordering on affording what, you know, what this community has looked like or moved like in the last 10 years. I mean, I don't think it can move at the same pace, you know, unless you do something, gain more revenue.
I agree, I think with the next board meeting, it will show LRF, RF, Golf Course Reserve Fund. Both RF and Golf Course Reserve Fund will go to zero in the next, whatever it is, 7 years, something like that.
Everything that cost items, you see them and they're all in the 6, 7, 8, 9% increase per year, and we're increasing revenue by 5%. That's a negative, that's negative balance every year to eating away at what you have, you know.
Yep, and we have had a couple one-time things I've gone through the initiation being, adding interest to the revenue accounts, but, yeah. So like, those are one-time things, not something you do every year. And what else on their weaknesses do you guys think? I agree, financial stability, the affordability challenge, there's,
I think some of it, like they said, just the knowledge, the understanding of another, I think is one thing. That's just what the situations actually are. And I would talk about their expectation. Correct. That champagne taste of your budget.
Nancy's not here to defend herself, but I have to think that she wrote this about future volunteerism.
Yeah.
Celebration.
Somebody please take on the celebration.
You know, it may be on here and I just haven't seen it, but we have a limited opportunity for growth. How many empty lots do we have now?
The POA?
Yeah.
The POA has 2 lots.
but there's still the week with plus.
It's on the front of here, she's followed out.
If you look at probably if you about 90 lots from what some people have.
1467 minus 1376.
It's about 90 lots
There's that many that are open.
that are possible. Yeah, I mean, some of them are people that hold on to forever. There's a couple on Mojave, the banker zone. I mean, they use them in golf. They'll sit there. And what you're talking about is we've already sold a lot, so you're not getting that income. The only income you're going to get from the developer is a permit, which is 3,000.
Or, yeah, and garbage, I was saying, the money's coming, the revenue's coming in, we're
Yeah,
getting,
they're paying their dues. We're not going to get any from a sale of a lot. We only have 2 lots. So.
The only way for us to get more lots is for people to be constantly.
A deconstitution, you know, is a little bit, and I mean, still they're buy, sell, we're not getting anything much out of that. The only other big influx we have is people constitute a lot to get about $20,000 fee.
Well, that, but I mean, for everybody that deposited, they're paying what for digging.
Right.
Yeah.
There's still large influx of cash.
Right.
What's
And
the
then-
opportunity for them is what I'm talking about. I mean, going forward, every time you do that, there's that any excuse available.
Right, there's no room, there's no influx. Yeah. We have 2 lots left,
We
that we
did
could
it.
probably sell each for 80 to 100,000. Out of all those other things, selling those 2 lots would be the biggest influx of cash. But it's a one times, and you're looking at not even $200,000.
I got one thing, I put it down, our location is a weakness, even though we sit close to the Metroplex, for labor, we are challenged to find adequate labor just of where we are, the closest. And I had a conversation with Dan, I believe our concentration of where the labor pool is Gainesville, but that's 12 miles away, where you have the concentration of people, we have 85 people or in the 80 range of people on staff now, and turnover continues to be a problem, ongoingly, so it's how do we figure out labor,
And then you,
Ongoing
from
battle.
Gainesville, you have to compete with the casino.
I know, and you're in the manufacturing environment, what's it like
Daily battle, every single day,
there? I was just wondering.
especially professionals like someone like Crystal. They're going to Denton or to Sherman, even if they live in Gainesville, it's just, we've got decent I don't want to call hands, but like our welders, our E-techs are come by, but like we got a good pool of welders that have been with us a long time. I don't know if it's just Gainesville and there's always been National Oil Well here, or there's some welding community, and like Ortec, Trident, there's a ton of heavy welding around here. So we've got a good pool of welders, but like trying to find an accountant or an engineer, you're fighting with those people make enough money where they can travel, right? They can run 30, 40 minutes to work and they don't mind it. So you're competing with Denton, Peterbilt, with, huge organizations where we're.
You have just the opposite too with low paying wages, because if they live too far away,
Can't
it's
drive.
not worth the drive.
Can't drive.
Well,
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. The pool of Gainesville is that
Yeah.
welder type, manufacturing type. We're lucky there. But would agree with this lodge right here. Larry is spot on. Anyone that wants to work at the lodge is going to that casino and get crazy benefits, crazy dollars, because they just literally print money over there. So,
Yeah, but also you're around a lot of staff that you don't, or
agreed.
customers you don't, that. You don't.
Yeah. And it's usually start nights, weekends.
Yeah, they're gonna be in charge of your day.
So I agree, but
Not as happy as it's not as happy as the net is.
they don't have 1,478 members. They got a cajillion just random people. I get it, but still, at some point, money and benefits or something.
Yeah.
And again,
Yeah. 20-something years old.
yeah, it's just.
All right, anything else here we should bring up? So we didn't, one thing that came up a couple times, I think, was communication, transparency. Is there anything in that everyone talked about?
I think a lot of that was, the board and other things too. I think it's just POA and the board communication for the members. And the perception.
We're certainly getting better at it. I mean, and more consistent. All right, well.
What's the? What percent of members are subscribed to the council contract, they have any rough idea? I know it's hard since we don't know how many members are. Or your population.
We're pretty high. I mean,
People that read
my members,
That's where I was going.
so it
So
goes to one member and
if you
you
get
can look up
90%,
the number, how many go to the general.
but if you get 90% of people sign up, just
Yeah. Part of the problem though is, how many people click too?
well,
About half the people read the email.
right.
And they don't enough to read the whole thing. They're at least click it. Yeah.
Did you know that they open the email?
Yeah.
Or they click on a link in the email?
We know that they open the email.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I very rarely click on a
Yeah,
link
it's,
because I know it anyway, but
yeah.
I still scroll through it all the time.
But I mean, sometimes they're pretty long too. And I imagine something they don't get to the then.
Click here, at least to sign up for the form or
I mean,
whatever.
that's my point though, is if you get 90% of the people signed up and half would, open it, at best case, 45% of the people are reading.
Mhm.
Assuming really. So that's, so true, but
So I just pulled up our constant contact and it shows that we have 2,200 contacts. And our email click rate is 2%.
Holy shit.
That's in the past 30 days.
Wow. 10%, that can't be right.
That's click, that.
Right.
so they clicked on a link or something. and-
Not open the email. That was why that was my
Yeah.
question.
Cause we did, I mean, I looked at a couple other ones before, and, a 60 is high. The other one there, cover a 50 or was like 11. I looked at it.
Yeah, I'd be curious to know who opens the email out of those 2,200. That stat's gotta be in there.
Let's see, 57% of your subscribers, which is 955 are the most engaged.
See if they're engaged.
443 are somewhat engaged, 233 are least engaged. We have 539 that unsubscribed. We've had 1% growth in the past 30 days. We've added 20 new subscribers in the last 30. So,
See, I disagree with some of these weaknesses on this communication. I think we communicate. I just think people refuse to, they don't like the way we communicate potentially. And if they don't like the way, they need, please help us communicate a different way.
what is a better way?
Yeah, I mean, we send constant contact out daily.
yes,
Is that true or false? There's
Pretty
some things
Pretty
daily.
much.
You can count the lodge and everybody else.
Yeah.
mine's every day. We're at least once a week unless there's special announcements.
And
Yeah.
it's, and an $8,000 paper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once a month.
And with all the surveys, we're sending out 1 a week for all the surveys, so it's a lot. I mean, maybe too much. I mean, I've definitely heard that.
Yeah.
Every day for the full launch.
I think the 2 surveys kind of back to back was an issue too.
Yeah. And we do that.
But we still have a segment of people out there that don't even use cell phones for communication.
All of it.
We have people that don't have emails.
Yeah.
That whenever we do a vote, they have to turn in.
That'll change, I think that's
There's a
changed.
handful, I mean,
Years.
Yeah, 5 or 10 years down the road where everybody uses them every day, but.
less
Well,
than.
I was gonna say about 10 or 11 people.
Yeah, I would say
I mean,
how less
it's
than
small,
1%.
Yes.
But they show up.
It's still, there's
Good
still.
for them. Good for them showing up though, at least.
Right, so looking at the opportunities.
Community structure, amenities, younger members with different ideas. Kind of what we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Finding that balance between what I would call a high-end amenity versus just maintaining what we have, adding high-end amenities. I saw several things on board members. I think a lot of our past board members, I don't know what an advisory council would look like, but most of our past board members are on committees.
Yeah.
So I
They
think,
stay
I think we kind of
engaged.
check that box.
There's
I don't know
a
who
lot.
specifically, that doesn't matter, you don't have to call yourself out, but a lot of them are on committees.
They stay involved.
I
Yeah.
don't think we're missing anything there.
When it's changed POA event structure, or that organizations run. So what is that?
So that the celebration committee doesn't have to do anything, or,
Be involved in anything, I do it.
right, so.
I'm sorry.
All right, Kristen.
I think at one point, like the Folk and there was another committee that they used to run a lot of our events. And people got tired of running the event and it's like, we're done.
It's the same people doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was on
The
that.
same people doing all the work.
That's exactly what.
Susan and Greg,
Right.
it's like Nancy can't get off or something. Nobody wants to do.
So it's like y'all, the POA take it over. Y'all do it.
And that was part of what they pushed before, was to have a person,
Well, yeah,
another
that's,
person do that for a
Yeah.
while, and that they were here for a period.
Yep.
So, Richard Crystal, how many new to Kiowa households you think you're gonna?
New right now, it's about 60, right? I mean, you can almost tell by the initiation fee, we're at 50 right now, we'll probably be at about 60 at the end of the year. But that's been fairly consistent.
Because some of these things about how do you better orient new members, I know we do orientation for them, but provide some level of mentorship, if you will, and guide them through the process when you have to the point of communication. This is how you do it. This is how you learn. Talk to your neighbor, use the communicator, and that's kind of.
Well, I think that Kendall kind of does that in her new member pocket.
Yeah. Kendall does a lot.
Yeah.
We do like one usually member event a year, maybe we do more, but even in the one, you get maybe 20 people show up. There used to be a welcome committee and a welcome team that some of the members did. They went and, greeted everybody when they came and did all that, but that went away.
My first month, there's probably 5 or 6 of us and we sat in, I think it was the boardroom. I think they brought me a soda. I mean, it was nice. I'm not trying to downplay soda, but
Yeah,
like there's probably 6 new members. It was new member orientation and someone, I don't even remember who it was, then I was drinking from a fire hydrant trying to figure everything out, but someone came in here and that was in 2018, so
Yeah.
I assumed it was still kind of going on, someone
Yeah.
told me.
that's-
Explained, hey, the golf course, this is what you do, this is who you see and
I
whatever.
think you might have been one of that ended in like 2019 or 2020, somewhere around there.
COVID shut it down, it never.
That's fair, yeah.
So it's 60 per year against 1,300 homes here, that's about 5% of new flowing on folks, about 120 a year, that's, how do you get them engaged? And they're not all full timers either,
Yes, I say a lot of those people weekend.
Speed, to hear all the rules.
Don't give your guy
Well,
on his own because they don't.
you have to move in full time.
But no, I kind of get into the kind of the grow your own kind of. comment, so if we could do something to help them in learn the right way, get be more involved early. I don't know, that's probably fine to start, but that was in there a couple of times.
My comment was on the census, and there's some other things about that, but it's just hard to get people even to, when we do a survey, we ask for a census. We ask for their age and full timer, we basically do that, but we get 400 of 1,500 to do it,
So
so
that's
that's,
a good number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you, Larry?
Yeah.
I mean, with the site survey, that we can restrict it them for, well,
Satisfaction, no,
yeah, same with the vision, so you got 440.
or 35 or whatever.
potential if you have a spouse, 3,000.
Right.
Yeah.
Same with vision mission values, we got 331.
Yeah.
So, probably got 10% of the people here to respond.
So that's a valid.
No, that's good, and I don't care if it's on, that's done, but, at the end of the day, I think it's, it's just interesting, and the point earlier, you look at the correlation between ULA's SAT survey, the value survey, the weeks that communicate, it's probably 80+% of what's saying. But, so the threats, I guess, is the last one. Didn't think of that, so to think. All this is, still the
Leases,
the lease structure. So costs.
How fast, Rich, is Cook County growing?
I can tell you, we gotta do that.
So the, when I looked at it, it was forecasted to grow 22% in the next, 10 years. Which is the lowest rate of counties around us. And I think it grew like 15% from 2005 or 2015 to 2025. So it's growing faster, but it's the smallest if you look at, kind of north central, it's the smallest and it's growing at the lowest.
And a lot of the projections are real good stalled right now. A lot of those projections come off of the property that was purchased and is and planned. Not that the builders have stopped, obviously, but they really take it back.
Yeah. So, but I mean, if you look at like, calm down, right? For instance, Texas is one of the fastest growing country. Just, I don't even know where it was. I think you might know. What else on weaknesses? Or sorry, issues?
I'm not hoping about staffing, but it is a big thing. And I don't know how we address it.
We don't do it. Assuming how would you?
Don't think about budget costs. It's everywhere. It's just not Lake Kiowa. It's, I mean, it's inflation across the entire country.
What about this kind of comments around acceptance of change, willingness to change?
Yeah, that's big.
The one I didn't understand was reliance on stale or inflation. Like that.
I read that. So like, I'm trying to say. The people that do the survey are the people who would be in that. I think it's the same, I'm not gonna call them old timers, but like people that don't want anything to change are the people that do those surveys, in my opinion.
With them full time.
It's short team.
It seems like there's always small groups. There's like the watercraft, you had the initial people who want to make all this change, and we get the people who hear about the changes that they don't want it. Then you have the back and forth of these small local groups that just go back and forth. There's a ton of them.
Yeah.
I mean, you have the old versus the young, you got late versus golf, you got all those.
Tired versus working.
All of that.
So one of the points there is how we get more representative feedback.
Okay. It's almost the same as someone else said about this member survey, it's just, we get this small group of people that make a lot of decisions around here. I'm not saying they're aging out, but they potentially, some of them are aging out, you know. Or it's the same, let's take old memory, it's the same Karens that are at every board meeting complaining about, you know, what's on their agenda, but they've got the time to come to the board meetings. So I think Lake Kiowa as a whole, sometimes we get behind something and just because someone said it, 50 other people follow behind them. They don't even think. It's not a sheep mentality, but it's a sheep mentality, you know.
Well, it's like, try not to listen, you know, I get complaints all the time, you can't listen to one, two complaints on it, but.
They're the loudest, but
Somebody has an issue with this and they harp on you, but. You can't jump at every complainer.
So we have a segment of our population that's not here much. And how do we get them engaged? How do they become engaged to know and understand? I'm not intimately involved with many of them at all, just where I live, what I do, you know, just all that. So how do you get them to know and understand what's going on in the community all the time, or most of the time that you know, if they get something from Lake Kiowa in their mailbox in, let's say Frisco, they just take it and go toss it in the, you know, in the trash, or did they look at it? Well, and I shouldn't say they're likely not looking at safety stuff. They are they on their phone, opening up those constant contacts with emails, but no one understand what's going on in the community and engaged in the community.
Does anybody here though think that we might have a lot of pressure on our community to be better? Because somehow, like, if I'm living in Gainesville, I'm not going to the city council meetings. I'm not I'm raising my family, I'm honing in on what I'm doing for my day. Not to be selfish, but I have 27-year-old and 21-year-olds. I'm not gonna be involved. I gotta do my day and I own a business.
Sure.
It's a lot to ask
Sure.
of our community and put in a burden.
Activity time.
Yeah, but like, even if I live, you know, anywhere else, I'm on the NCTC board, but like, I don't know, you know, it's like. You can't expect everybody to be engaged either, so it's always gonna be this population that. Gets through certain times in their life or raises their kids and they are in a different mindset. That's probably not gonna change. You're not gonna get the 29-year-old that. Right now is playing the part 3, should be, you know.
I'm actually-
You know what I'm saying?
I
Like,
put a lot
Brenda-
of thought into this because I was on the NCTC board and we make decisions that affects your tax rate.
Yeah.
You know, once a year and it's a big deal. But out here, we make our budget is $5 million. And like hypothetically, if someone's spending $5,000 a year on dues and spending money up here, them seeing that $5 million gets spent is a huge difference between our $80 million budget. You know what I mean? There's only $5 million and we spend it on here, something they're interested in, whether it be Cecil's Lake or Larry's golf course or whatever.
A lot more opinions and a lot more concentrated and a lot less money.
It's
And a lot more
opinion. It's about
accountability,
opinions.
and it's a lot more accountability for that versus if you know, that's where my business is in Gainesville. I don't have any say, but I'm never gonna get anything done there. And there's a keep on charging me, keep on taking my money. And I'm gonna hit that same pothole for 10 years. So I just don't know.
This is a focus group
Yes,
arguing over $5 million
yes,
for whatever that's important to them, in my opinion. Right.
yes.
Yeah, I'm not,
And
I don't know how you change that.
I honestly, again, I've been on several different boards.
Yeah.
I think it's great that we have people come to board meetings. I'm pissed.
I think we don't give our community enough credit, is what I'm trying
I
to
would say
say.
there's a lot of pressure. I grew up. This is the nice side of the county, right?
Yeah,
absolutely. Look up to, again, we just talked about how we're the
I mean-
slowest growing, obviously, but like, it was a privilege to get to live like Kyle.
The only people that communicate with me in Gainesville is chamber, you know, and I have to pay them to send me info. So, you know, I don't know,
They don't listen.
I think you just have a lot of, you know, a lot of people really honestly just wanna know that they're safe and they're happy and they wanna raise their families and they don't want to do this.
So-
And I've now been on the board for almost 3 years and I feel safe. I mean, that's just how I feel, and I'm still kind of young and it's just, it's hard. It's not, you know,
So I agree with all of that. And the hard part though is when also something happens and they haven't paid attention in 2 years.
Sure.
And then they come in a meeting and say, well, 4 out of the 9 board members don't live in the lake, so therefore you're conspiring against the people that live in the lake, or if you don't live in the lake, you shouldn't have a say in this, so that's to me is the challenge. Is that if you want to have this, be able to have a say in something that's important to you, you gotta need to pay attention.
One of our longtime members, Mike Brindle, who comes to everything at Watercraft meeting, we've been arguing over registration for 6 months.
That's my whole.
I love him to death. 6 months, and then I was like, let's just get through the registration one, because that's the one we've talked about it. Came in just mad as hell about
Are
it.
you
I was like,
not saying this club?
but I was like, of all people to, not know what was going on,
He
Mike
has-
Brindle's involved in everything.
He has a bunch of little pet peeves that he likes to.
Yeah.
It's also too, I mean, you've been hearing this since you turned 18, if you want something to change, you gotta go vote, well, sometimes you just get desensitized to it all, that's really what, people are doing until they feel the need to. And honestly, this is something you gotta think about too, is it's a volunteer board, I mean, there are boards that pay, and I've been on some that, the perks are pretty good, and I kind of wanted to show up there, because they paid for me to get my continuing ed, or send me on a trip every year. Our state bank board, they pay, and there's boards that pay. And
Yeah,
there's,
it's a private sector.
so maybe I'm not saying, if you want an elevated board, maybe you, offer a discount on the dues, or give something back to that person for their time. I don't know, you can't, I'm just saying, there could be, because people do it. That might entice people to pay more
All the
attention.
nominations going.
Not
Yeah.
great.
And also, whenever,
We hustled up a lot of, I got
yeah,
a spread of people, age bands. I'm actually proud of myself. We'll
yeah,
talk about it tomorrow.
hey, I can tell you that, I think so too.
I've been hustling.
On the Tuesday, Thursday, I'm gonna try to be there.
Why don't we skip forward to page 14 of top priorities? I know some folks, when they look at it, they just all the stuff, they look at the priorities and more and less at the end, so it's fine. But there's definitely less stuff in the last 3 pages on the order in the first date that we talked about, So, with that said, so 14 was, what do we think the top priority should be for the budget and community overall next year? So why don't you take a look through this, and if there's something is just noticeably missing, something we should add, that just wasn't captured. Or something you don't understand. What was written? Anything jump out to you, Dan? Infrastructure.
Yep, infrastructure.
So when you turn the page, or what we should do less of. New stuff was mentioned a couple times. So here it's kind of that same dynamic. It's infrastructure, roads, dam, lake. Then you have also, you want other bigger stuff. So. I need the last bullet here, prioritize infrastructure, recreational facilities, capital improvement. I don't know if recreational facilities means new or just maintaining what we got, but that's, we talked about dues, trying to find the right balance. I think people believe that we over-indexed stalls in the last 18 months. We made that, but then what we spend park money on next year, more. They won't take that. What we do this year.
And again, what do we want Lake Kiowa? Yeah, well, what do we and people want Lake Kiowa to be? I mean, it's a lake and a golf community. I mean, that's what it was designed for, and that should be the fit for anyone looking to come in here. I would think, that you're interested in at least those two things.
One of those.
One of the two things. Okay.
I think there's a big, I agree with both of those things, but I think the third piece is that gate. There's a lot of people that want to live inside that gate.
Oh, the security, yeah, absolutely. There's a big plus to that.
It's 100%.
You're right.
For some people, it's me too. And I live really close to the park gate, so I like it. I like it.
It's come up and I've looked at all the surveys, it's just that sense of security, that is critical.
This going to grow, I believe also, it's
Times
the
two.
Metroplex
Well, it's
moves closer to us.
You already see it happen. I mean, if y'all drive even in Gainesville recently, there, I mean, I couldn't even get to the I-35/82 intersection. I know y'all say there's not growth in Gainesville, but it's coming. The apartments, the housing, new, all the TJ Maxx,
It's
new McDonald's,
22% in
Yeah.
quality, 10 years is a lot,
which,
but it's just relative, right?
but you probably, and I don't want to Salina or Prosper. We don't have the roads for that. Look what happened to Denton. It took us 10 years to catch up. I mean, drive down I-35, I went to Denton today. That is awful. Every pocket of it's awful. So slow is good, but it's gonna be here because we have major seasons.
Well, I mean, always totally too, and it's just.
And then security will become, I think security for us will become one of our major priorities.
It already is.
I mean, as everything gets closer, it's gonna be tougher.
I'm surprised. I purposely looked at houses or did not look at houses, but I would never move into here, in my opinion. Dylan's opinion, I'd take it a day. What's the county road back there? 211, 20?
Yeah.
I just like, why would I move in a gated community and have my backyard be
I
a
live
county
there.
road that I can't?
We built that, we had a house there and it was a barbed wire fence.
I'm surprised people don't want
People-
haven't came to these board meetings and said, you only need to put a fence around this place. Keep people out in the backyard.
Cause this is barbed wire.
It's barbed
Yeah,
wire.
I
I
can.
mean, you
Oh,
call through
My
it.
daughter's friends did.
Most of it's like 50 years old.
I know, I'm just, that's one thing I was like, I'm not moving in a gated community and I'm just, Dylan's not, I don't hate it, but
The east side's a whole different
Yeah, I gotta carry it.
You don't even want to go, you gotta carry it for sure. You might as well live with.
yeah, I'm just
with my-
surprised the things people not complain about, talk about, whatever we call it. I'm surprised the actual fence around this place doesn't get.
Yeah, because we haven't seen the crime happen
Yeah.
at some level. When
There's
it
not
start-
been any-
when it starts to, that will.
Yeah.
I think the current crime is, members' kids around here.
Oh, yeah, when it
These
becomes-
last couple of years,
Serious.
side crime, it's gonna be.
Stealing.
We have an ACC regulation on what kind of fence those people that border to 11.
You don't have to have a fence on the back side of your property.
No.
If they put a fence up, it has to be per the ACC requirements,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah,
have like 6 foot or lower privacy fence, maximum 4 foot down privacy fence. The wood, metal.
Even on the exterior lots of the place.
Yeah.
I'm surprised by that.
Yeah.
That's something that needs to be looked at. If I've got a house on that back side, I wanna put a fence up so no one can get in my backyard. I don't think that should be a problem.
Well,
On the golf course, totally get
well,
it.
you
Yeah,
could,
yeah,
but it's a 6 foot maximum privacy.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised they would.
For friends with visual.
Yeah.
I'm surprised at the 6 foot, because I mean,
That's what it is.
whenever we drive through these communities, you know, in these cities and all that, those outside fences are way taller than 6 foot.
That would make a difference just for the county. residents.
It needs to be, I agree with it. It needs to get exterior related.
Yeah.
yeah, so something.
At some point, there'll be some kind of crime issue that comes up.
Yeah, again, I just thought.
Come up.
Oh, yeah.
I
Major
can't
item.
with that yet.
There's
Somebody
some
wanted
hot
to build a
up
fence.
fences for sure.
Right.
Dan, I can't help but think that this fourth one down, fifth one down. Creating priorities and a strategic framework to drive the budget decision making was what you were talking about, at our last, maybe meeting before last.
I've been done it for a long time, yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah, and I probably wouldn't do that, so.
I'll be your strength.
It's a little,
Good setup though, Chris.
so to me, you know, a lot of these things we've been talking about, you know, older people, fixed income, not younger people, people with more money, you know, the amenities, existing amenities. You know, to me, there should be, and there's hopefully soon will be, some sort of guidance that we can get behind that talks about what do we want Kiowa to be, and then what's our role to get us there. And when I say it like that, people assume when I say change, but if someone, to me, the vision could be exactly the same as it is today, 10 years from now, same security, the same level of amenities, whatever, and that's viable. But don't read into it's change, it's just, we're lining up to say, this is what we believe in, and then the decisions that you make fall underneath that framework.
establish your priorities. And then you budget to those, right?
Well, if your priorities come from that, and then you budget from those products, correct? So, I mean, so to me, vision, right, is what do we aspire for, what do we aspire to be? Again, that doesn't change things necessarily. It's just, what do we want it to be like? And the vision is, what's on the wall, what's the feeling, in kind of servicing the overall community, what's our purpose? And so, soon, there's gonna be a chance for all of us in the board setting to, provide more feedback. And I will have a survey process to a place where you guys can see what's in there. So it's, yeah, I'll take your feedback too on, if you want to go into it just blind, and just give feedback, you want to read what's in the survey, what's come out of focus groups. Right now, it's only got one focus group, and it's at, Edmonton's office meeting. So that was challenging. Still rich, I don't listen to very out. It was dodging a lot of arrows. I didn't know. Believe it or not.
It's that's not.
Yeah. So that was not the best feedback. But which is unfortunate.
And that kind of what we hope to do as a board is to bring all the comments that people, Dylan and Maria and Mary and everybody else here. You know, and
Make decisions based on.
we get together as nine of us, and, you know, we brought those thoughts with us, our bitches or gripes or compliments. You know, we got to filter all that to what we hope we can get done as a board.
Take out the stale comments from the members that are just complaining. That's kind of what I'm trying to say.
Yes, how do you know, you know, if your next door neighbor is on you every day about something, how do you, appropriately weigh that versus, other perspectives? So to me, now with some of the KPIs that POA, which is done, like having semi-annual stat surveys and all the information that comes with those things, you're basing it on who responds, which may or may not be representative, but you will now have every 6 months a huge treasure trove of data to understand what people think, and you can bounce against, we should only spend any carp coming on the lake, versus we only should spend all the time money on, on existing, nature, more trees, more butterfly, right? So whatever, hey, that's my hot point. What if I were? All right, so if you want to move forward, 15 is what we should do more of. And then 16 is what should we spend less time on the energy on? So I think very consistent, right? Staffing, communication. Yeah, even if we tell.
A lot of staff,
Yeah,
goals for staff. Trust with staff and board. Service quality staff.
Keep looking at the project execution. The time from approval to execution takes longer than expected. I
Staffing.
have to think, where are they living?
well, I think part of that is communication too, right? And some of it to point earlier is like how many times can you hear about the front entrance? Before it just becomes white noise. But, but I do think, and Rich and I have talked about this, can we just have a regular place once a month, once a quarter, have a section that communicates, it's here's the 10 things that are going on, here's the status. Even if the status is still waiting for approval from, whatever regulatory agency on the X. At least people know what it is, and we haven't forgotten about it.
The front gate. Honestly, anybody that's been on the sport is flat 30. Parts we got in the way. Jim Fox this time. I think we pushed. That
Yeah,
project has been quick because of the money, and then it was happen or don't happen. And I mean, I think that's Jim that was supposedly, his job and he got built into the 5:30, he's still 5:30. And I mean, that, because we just don't have the staff to get it. I mean, if we had the Part 3 people on the front gate, it'd already be done.
Well, I mean,
I mean-
sometimes it's in some of the leverage, I realize this since I've been on the board, it's the lack of leverage that Rich and Jim have with getting people to move, to do something. I mean, we're a little thing to them, like Bluestone. They're like, you know.
I mean, I've been on the board and I know I voted on the first year I was here. This, so, on the Part 3, I voted on the second year I was here. So, I'm just pointing out, like, you can get stuff done, you gotta have the manpower, you gotta have a lot of concentration, and they did.
Well, they had
And I know that
aged, they had 6 retired guys, or how many they were, and
yeah,
everything
but
else.
now maybe we
Some
can
coaches.
get him back, now he is paid. Get him back, helping
A lot-
us on the front gate.
A lot of that comes down to the contractor side of things. I mean, it's difficult, it seems like, to get people to actually initiate work.
We just had, if you see the, excavation of the ponds. Had contracts went out, proposals to 7, was it 7 or 8?
We got 7 back, it was up to like 13.
13 and 7 back, and there were only 3, were, how many actually they did?
3 got through everything.
3. Luckily, we found a really good one, you know, but we were fortunate, you know, that's just the position we're in here.
Yeah.
You know,
There's all kinds of other difficult, I mean, contracts now are a problem. Talk about like Bluestone, you know. They throw a whole monkey in a wrench with trying to get more money for the bidding, and I still haven't gotten that contract finalized. They haven't fixed all the more issues came in the beginning. That silt one, you would think it'd be easy, it said too much just to get that contract signed.
we were worried that wasn't gonna get done this year.
Contracts to contractors and
They're
everything.
not here
It's
tonight,
getting more difficult.
all the attorneys. That's what this world's becoming. I mean, it's getting worse and worse in every single thing we do. You know, I have, even in my job, I get a call at least once a week, somebody doing the trust. It's always an attorney. Oh, you need to talk to your accountant. You're the one making all the money. Why do they need it? Nobody wants to any liability.
Yes.
Checking all.
Risk adverse.
Where's the ridiculous one?
Completely risk it, and it's attorneys, they're gonna run this
And then
planet.
because of all the attorneys, they keep getting long. Just the
And more
regular
expensive.
contracts for Richmond Landscape for Part 3, that same thing. Luckily, we was able to cross out some of the language and get it done, but just to get some of the landscaping contract had 7 pages of boilerplate attached to it, just to do landscaping. Yeah.
Well, you can look at virtually every item it seems like we've dealt with, from the front gate to the pickleball courts. To the American Legion Memorial thing, and it all comes down to actually getting the people that wanted the business to show up and do work.
Bluestone too is, we kind of chose a horse and started paying a little money, and now we can't, they're not gonna give us the drawings that we effectively paid for.
Well, that, when we first contracted them, or started with them like 3 years ago, they were smaller, they weren't doing that much. Now they have their own, they branched out 3 different companies, they're doing their own development.
Well,
They're trying to do the same thing with the memorial. The memorial's supposed to be done next to the fire department over there. That's what Bluestone is, it's not going.
when I first year I was on the board too, though, I think it was more or less the indecisiveness of the community and the board.
Well, you
To get on it.
every year on this board.
Yeah, and trying to just get that going forward, and finally, it's like, we gotta get going forward, because it's also, you're never gonna get the attention of a contractor when you keep on just changing and never even doing work. I wouldn't work for you, I'd tell you to get going, because I have another client that wants to pay me and wants me to work. So I get that too. So, you know, it sucks that the community voted on it, now we can't get it done, so we have the definite, and people don't understand that, contractors don't care.
Some of this process, if you said it's your whole thing, that front gate started in 2015, there's so many different
Yes.
iterations,
Yes.
gets to a certain point. People change, it dies, the whole design changes again, you get different.
Well, now we're gonna be probably approaching going back and having to tell the community, we're gonna have to have more money.
Yeah.
I mean, another vote, and that's gonna be awful, guys.
Yeah, let's
I
read.
won't be here. Anyway.
Still read those back in.
Yeah, sorry.
So this on the last page, just the less of. So, I mentioned some of these, before, some people want more, some people don't want more right now. We've done a lot to credit to the last couple of boards. But, got some feedback on adjusting maybe. Talk about technology and improvements on the last page, this is kind of the other side. There's still a lot of manual stuff around here, how do we kind of embrace that? Or, yeah, maybe that's if the next one needs to, what else changing, we need to change with it. So those projects, there's a lot less things under, we should spend less time and energy on that, and the one, those all go. Right. So any other thoughts, questions about any of this thing you want to bring up? This is the first time and I didn't memory that was done that exercise like this. Is this valuable to have this type of discussion? Was it? I don't know if you like who's going to get that.
I think half of this stuff we've probably verbally talked about, but the other half we would never, you don't have forced five of us to this exercise. So I think it was.
Sorry,
Well, no,
October 15th is not a good week for me.
But I think we talked about infrastructure and facilities.
Everybody did get done the night before.
there's always going to be a continuing discussion on that, on a number of these because unfortunately they have outside impact.
A lot of us,
I'm not sure how much will ever get to a point to where we can really control it. Be a good idea. It's good to see it, to see other parts.
another big opportunity. Everything we do on here costs money. We're limited on 1,487 lot times 330 a month, right? So
Yeah.
one of my things, Lee, that I think I mentioned somewhere else on this is just trying to figure out that outside revenue, additional revenue. We need to jam more revenue, more revenue, more revenue, and you can only get so much from your members. Golf's free. Driving on the lake's free, driving on the roads are free. Effectively, you're paying 330 a month, but there's no adders there. So I think you figure out a way to get some version of outside revenue from non-members or additional revenue from current members. And the additional revenue from current members doesn't need to be in a negative way. I don't want to come off when you write more tickets because $50 times, that's obviously not what we want, but
Well,
I'm saying.
you'll never be able to get there on that.
I think it'll supplement though. To get some of these projects and you're gonna have to have additional revenue, and maybe it's just totally donations.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm a revenue guy.
Well, yeah, and I think we bring up some of these subjects, it's like people say, oh, $50 for, but no, we're not doing that. At some point, somebody's gonna have to make a change. Like stuff maybe can't just be free forever. It just can't be free.
Well, I mean,
And especially whenever you have a different demographic in each of the different amenities, why not target those people and their money?
there's been lawsuits in the past, so the only way that will change is if there's another lawsuit and it comes out with a different decision than the one and.
Or you go
Is this about golf, charging for golf?
It's on about golf, particularly it's like charging, getting a POA, everyone owns everything equally, so charging for something you already own. You're actually not allowed. So unless you're providing a unique service like storing a golf cart, storing a trailer.
But can that not be brought to a major vote at some point? Like the community could vote to change that.
So,
That's what I'm saying, why not?
no.
I mean, I get, like, right now, though,
No, that's like
No.
part of the association's. And being a
never be
POA,
amended.
you'd have to change like the association certificate and the covenant.
Well, the covenant, it would be the
Covenants
first,
can be changed.
it's the first covenant change, you can only do once every 5 years.
Yeah.
We got 2 years to go. And then, there's some other legal things, but the first step is to do that.
So like the par three, like right now, if you have a guest to go pay the par three at.
$25.
Yeah.
I mean,
But that's a guess, not a member. You're not charging the member.
And we're not, and we don't get all of it.
We never.
I'm just saying, there's just,
It was,
who knew that was gonna be up there?
Well,
Opportunities, so.
one of your only other opportunities then is to ask for donations. And it
Jam.
needs to be, once again, the same people that donate.
Yeah,
Or
totally agree, over, bills there, or ways of being, we had a lot of discussions around how to drive revenue, and that's where the initiation fee came from. That they can't charge more than members, but can charge people that want to be members, and that's where that came from, I know that. So, even non-realtors that are still mad about that. But, it is, it's $250,000 that we have, that we'd have to cut somewhere else if we didn't. Yeah, so, and,
Or one thing we don't have are assessment. As far as, operations, maintenance, and infrastructure fixing everything, but somebody wants anything new. New capital improvements, just make an assessment. So you're not hitting car and all these other things. They want something new, the community can vote on it, and it'll be an assessment.
that's the only way some of these things.
Can we, with our current bylaws and governance, can we put a minimum charge in the lodge on everyone's bill? Would that be a unique experience, or you have to spend $50 a month?
It's a common situation.
A lot of people do it, that's what I'm curious.
Close in. I don't know, I mentioned that, that's a good
I'm not asking
question.
You're charged a certain amount, and if you
don't spend
you lose it, or you can go to the line.
That's like-
Lodge.
Is it Rock Creek?
Yeah, Rock Creek does that.
No,
They have a social.
Everyone does it.
Alright,
Yeah, you look at a lot of places like Rock Creek, their dues are the pay an initial fee to play golf, and then you have your.
And you only get so
trail
many
free,
rounds, so
right,
many
yeah.
rounds, like I think you can play, 6 or something.
Everything's lit.
And then after
Yeah.
that, you can't load up with all your
so
friends.
Everything adds up.
Yeah.
a lot
Start
of
adding all the
questions
fees up.
for me, so. Would you guys? Do this? So, not necessarily this exact exercise, but something like this, again, but not necessarily just for the project, but just in general, so. Oh,
Yes.
Could you charge golfers to use a golf cart? That was one of the things that came in the original
Trail fee.
Trail
because there was a trail fee before the lawsuit, and after the lawsuit, there was no trail fees.
So
So,
like Falcon Head has a trophy.
yeah, that's.
It's like 700 or a year. It's not a lot.
All right, so thank you guys, I appreciate that, this was great from my perspective, so I appreciate you guys pulling it together, I will send out some notes, afterwards. And going up that long, so, yeah, thank you.
Yes, seriously, a lot of work.
The exercise.
My pleasure. Moving along. Item B, preliminary 2026 owner budget.
Crystal, we sent out a preliminary, a lot of it's already changed, some numbers have changed. I don't know if there's any additional comments anybody wanted to make. If you guys stood out there, anybody?
No, that's not on there for a little bit.
Yeah.
I had a couple, what do we still need $125,000 for the payment? It's gonna be, use your recommendations for next year?
We still have to do the spillway side, and it still has to have engineering and everything go through, which is probably at 50. And then just figure, same thing, you're gonna have to patch and do all the maintenance work on the concrete side.
On the concrete from where the valve opens to the backside?
No, that was the low flow that we did. That was
I know that. Okay,
We
so
did
something-
we did the upstream side, we talked the water side of the spillway, the divers did that previous attempt. When we're talking about lowering the dam, like we wanted to get the low flow working so we can lower the dam. To get the water level down, so we can work on the concrete side of the spillway.
What's wrong with the concrete?
It had some leaks,
Cracks
cracking,
and leaks.
to be honest with you, there's baffles down there that have drainage pipes, all the underground. Drainage isn't working right now, just the hydrostatic pressure from what's in the basin is holding all that from the sand from falling out. The other issues with that is we need to fix that because the water in the basin itself is an issue, it shouldn't be actually holding water. That was supposed to be, so the water would drain completely out. It was just a temporary holding thing, but it just sits there. So after we get the baffles and those pipes working, we'll probably cut a little opening or put a pipe in and probably just cut a little B opening or something, and all those spots like that one.
And it'll just be a spillway, it won't be a true, like it catches it, holds water.
Right, that it shouldn't be, that's one issue.
Just perspective, a couple of years ago, it was identified that there were cracks. And that whole basin area that's down there, if you go down and look at it, it's X feet wide by X feet long and up down, there was probably 3 foot of water in there.
Yeah,
3.5,
definitely.
3.5. So they drained it down to do some investigation work and drained it down to about 6 inches. So it filled back up by itself through the leaks in about 28 hours. So just think of that's about the amount of water that we're losing through that spillway wall every day going out of the lake. And I don't know what that.
That's not really that much volume overall.
No, but it's still
Yeah.
a decent amount of water. It's not a lot, but it's a decent amount.
Okay, and then the bridge is the one-lane bridge?
Right.
And what does $125,000 consist
That's
of?
basically painted, you just have a lot of rust, some structural damage, we got an engineering report, I can forward that to you. You can send me a reminder. Basically, it needs to get sandblasted down to the raw metal, fix some shin and repainted. Biggest issue is that the old bridge with lead paint, let's get sandblasted off with mediation. Parts, everything else, so nobody's come, I had one bid at 125, had a couple more over the years. Nothing's under $100,000, basically the.
I'll do it for 95,000. I got a mobile sandblaster and a paint cut. That's crazy. That's all you like. So my question
And I
was,
should send you the bid to see.
I would love to see that.
Yeah.
Seriously, that's crazy that I thought we were doing major structural.
Yeah.
So my question, follow-up question to this is, we have a one-lane bridge. In part of my ignorance, I don't know exactly what was done, that we won't let 2 cars go on, but we put 2 inches of asphalt on the top of it. That does not make any sense to me.
It's the weight limit, the 2-inch stuff does add weight. The
A
weight
lot.
limit, the weight limit are the cars, because you don't want people overdoing it, to be honest with you, probably get 3 cars on there and be fine. Because the weight limit is each structural element, there's 3 sections to it. To be structurally accurate.
We're probably.
Yeah,
We got right across that.
that.
So what is weight of asphalt 2 inches thick?
Per square foot.
Correct.
Like measurement square feet.
Yeah.
25 pounds per square foot. So how many square foot is that bridge? It's probably 10 by
180,
180 square foot.
no, 180.
180 feet long,
Like
10 foot wide.
You know,
It's 1,800.
We just put 45,000 pounds of asphalt on a bridge that we won't let 2 cars with a car with. I was gonna guess 5.
I had to drive over to go back home.
Me too.
41 to 4,300 pounds, but that's a passenger vehicle. So that we just put 45,000 pounds of asphalt on a bridge that we won't let 2 5,000-pound cars.
Well,
Well, we had to deal with the same situation on the golf cart bridges.
Yeah.
And they were beat up and, you know, we put, I don't know how many inches of asphalt on it.
I think we should probably take down the old single car, which it'd be
I don't know if
traffic.
you could do that, because that's a whole thing too. We didn't just put that out there for nothing. That was a whole ordeal back in the day and itself.
Because why? Is it over?
I don't know the whole history of it, but yeah.
Yeah, I saw that when we did it and it got to me because I assumed, I would have guessed it's 125,000. I asked those questions for a reason in that order. I would have guessed that 125,000 would have been major structural, removing asphalt, starting over type deal.
can I go back up?
Yep.
So 1F. We talk about Little Wolf Park. I know it's hard from a staffing perspective, but costs can be separated by parking versus everything else. So if you just kind of genericize it, like Little Wolf Park. Right, because part 3 costs have to be paid for by the part 3.
Right.
So how do we go forward, and we need to be able to continue to break out, show people what costs are associated with part 3 and the part 3 is paying for versus what's Little Wolf Park that the invoice paying.
Well, anything for part 3 is to have their own budget, but nothing's gonna be in part 3 on.
Yeah, so that even the driving range is.
Yeah. The driving range is ours, Little Wolf Park was, it's everything
So-
except for the Park 3, so there's nothing.
So when you say Little Wolf Park in this context, it's never includes anything.
I can do Little Wolf Park, but I mean, you can break Little Wolf Park into, I don't know, 100 different segments if you wanted to, the little pond area, the parking lot. The trail, actually the restroom itself is
Driving
part
around
of
with
the
the
Little Wolf
vision.
Park. Everything except for the golf cart course is technically Little Wolf Park, the whole area. And then if you want to itemize every single piece, you can do that.
No, I just want to make sure that, because you know,
We're trying to make it as
no, I understand that.
straightforward as possible.
I appreciate that. I mean, but we do know there's gonna be people that are on our backside every day saying, you know, we're not supposed to spend money on that. Right. And that, you know, so whenever we say Little Wolf Park, I think trying to be explicit is good because that's not enough. Someone's gonna take that.
Park dash,
Not.
pond,
Yeah.
Little Wolf Park dash, driving range.
No, yeah, so because, you know, you're the ones that sit at the chats with the president and community manager. You can already picture who's gonna bring that up to you, so. And this is another night question. So under 3, it says regular assessment. Do we use assessment or use synonymous with?
What page are you looking at now?
Matter of fact, even like when you reference the GCRF and in the bylaws, the regular annual assessment.
That's a special assessment versus regular
Right.
assessment. It is an assessment, it's the same, right?
And I bring that up, yeah, that's, and other GCRF, and I think.
So in the golf area, I noticed we went down in both the chemical fertilizer and the water compared to last year, quite a bit.
The water is another issue.
The water, I have corrected, I had it at 5% before, not 33%.
I was gonna
But
say,
now the chemicals and fertilizers, I feel like we're gonna be like a 5% above.
Yeah, I believe they were higher.
Let's strategically go through this because there's gonna be 100 questions going different ways.
Yeah.
Let's stick to, I want to stick to the recommendations for right this second.
Yeah.
If you don't mind, sorry, Cecil.
you're fine.
So
You're on page.
the recommendations on the page.
First page, basically.
Which,
The major thing that we always deal with is staffing, salary, so that's at the top of the list. Just with a 5% max, trying to start with a 5% salary max, for every department. And go from there. We have some that we may even have to go higher and request to be higher. Security is one, I think Bill may be aware of, same thing, we have issues there, it's going right now at 1750 per hour for security, so how do we raise everybody up to that scale if we were to raise the whole department?
So
That's one thing we have to look at.
without getting too granular, you have something to say about security?
Well, but salaries in general, and so is there a place here that I could easily see salaries? So now by department, now, because
She'd have to put together a question.
because to me, right, salary expense is huge for us. You know, we're talking about bumping it up. So I'm thinking if we transition people from part-time to full-time, we're adding people here and there, salaries in general will hopefully going up. That's a huge amount of money, right? So I'm trying to figure out, you know,
You want to see all the salaries in one lump sum?
well, I'm just trying to do the pluses and minuses on this. So if we're gonna spend, making up numbers, $200,000 more on salaries, you're gonna find $200,000 somewhere else.
Right.
So, and it's hard to see the puts and, you know, the minuses are in here in this easier format.
I think I can answer this question. So in your main page, like the budget, where you have your revenues and expenses, dump all salaries for the next meeting into one expense line item.
So you can see it, it'd be helpful, just. Because I was trying to do that myself, but I got lost because. I kept on looking at this and saying, we do all these things, there's no way this is gonna balance out, but somehow. You guys figured a way to get votes. So just trying to understand that, and maybe as you go through this, you can help me with that.
And the thing is that since I sent that out, the rest of it out, we had it pretty well balanced, you know. Now, after adding some requests for additional salaries, I've corrected, corrected water for 33%.
We actually got in our healthcare is actually going to be coming in about 5% less than what I would budget. Our long-term, short-term insurance is coming down. Actually, we are locked into our rates until January of next year or 27. So I had built in 6%, so I forgot about that. So that helps. All this is that we've got some deep wishes on salaries, and now I'm sitting at $135,000.
So we discussed this in security vaguely, just because she thinks she has a lot of tenured employees that are gonna stick around. It's 2 or 3 that float, and we waste, my opinion, waste a lot of money on recruiting costs.
Yes.
In the private sector, or tech, we spend little dollars, because Indeed and all these things you use do not pan out. It's word of mouth. Dan knew so-and-so, they're looking for a job, he knows how to weld, or he's an accountant. We've had more luck with that than spending money on recruiting. I would take that, I'm not saying take 50,000 to zero. I thought it was 50. Yeah, I'm on it.
Yeah, no, per se, what I did
$11
is, was Rich had told me that y'all were, custom discussing. And I took it back down to what we had budgeted for them last year, which was relatively low.
And to your point, I mean, we get a low success rate, it's kind of.
Right.
Yeah.
So
We don't spend anything.
So just another overall review versus Alex's question.
I got more.
How did the-
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
real impact of budgeting interest in.
We did.
It helped a little bit. I'm sorry.
We give our employees $500.
I just pushed in what I predicted my interest was gonna be for this year, and that's what I put in as a stop, so it's. For operating, it's like 50 or $60,000 for revenue or reserve account. Gets, allocated to the different reserve account. So I put that in there. And that helped a little bit, but. And this is the struggle that we have every year. And, your point to, you say maybe hire more full-time employees to get them to stay. The problem is that benefits.
Well, I just noticed your transition, some people are some of
I'm sorry.
full-time.
I misunderstood that, sorry.
So, no, if you can get part-time people, then are good and want
Yeah,
to do that, that's fine.
it's been a problem. Part-time people, hiring them and staying is a big issue. The incentive is hiring somebody full-time, you pay benefits for it, but hopefully they stay. That's what.
What is the drive, what's the balance between the cost of recruitment and versus retention?
Versus.
Yeah, but, you keep that employee compared to turning that same position over 3 times.
We spent how much on,
Yeah, it's departmentalized, so I gotta add it up.
Well, it's not even that, it's what's the role of activity.
Well, it's the soft costs, the hard costs.
Well, the bad part is
Security
You
recruits
get-
20 grand.
get 6 interviews lined up and all 6 of them didn't show up. I had that happen.
That is, the 8 months,
She's 100 deficit, you take rid of that, you cut it out.
$44,000.
Well, I'm sure. All right, good.
And then there's the other hard costs we don't change, but we also have a lot because of the turnover, you're doing more background checks, more.
Yep.
Drugs, not that they're that expensive, but it all adds up.
About $100 for a drug test and $45 for a background.
And I think that's your, instead take 50 down to 10.
And then you have awesome training, especially in security.
And what I
Training somebody for a
did,
while, everything
so-
else, it's just.
I had
Yeah, we-
taken it down, so since I sent it out to y'all, I have now taken recruiting down to 19.
Perfect. How many grants? But I am one of 9. But I got a big stick tonight, I'm chairman.
Like promoted from president to chairman.
Chairman, okay.
He's chairman of it.
Wow.
There you go. Do we want to, another comment I had, so y'all stop making fun of me here, moving along here, number 5. Do we like the idea of moving the 250, splitting it 150 to some version of road maintenance and 100?
That's just a suggestion.
Totally agree.
Because our farm has gotten depleted, depending on the projects we want to do. It allocates more money to whatever you determine. I mean, we have so many projects on the list.
What's
We
everyone's
used $176,000 last year. So I was just trying to use the same amount that we used this year and try not to use it all for roads every here. It's supposed to be more than just for roads.
Sure.
That was my thing.
I think it's back to our people starting. The idea when we did that initiation fee, we're giving amenities to members immediately, to our non-member who becomes a member immediately. So I would consider that gate, which is the roads inside of it, and somewhat of an amenity. So I don't mind using it on that. But again, what's everyone's thoughts on 250? How to divide it up? Those are Rich's recommendations, but feel free to speak
I
freely.
mean, I've talked to Rich about this. We have such a debt on the roads.
Yes, the more you can put there, we got positive feedback all over the place about what was done this year.
So on the road.
Yeah.
So my concern, I would put all 250 in it. Is
I
that
would
almost
too.
my, do you want to take that?
Is there any other
in a
place?
rainy day fund, or do you want to spend it? each
Yeah, is there
year?
another place that needs it or?
I don't know if we can put it, well.
It's supposed to be used the next year, but.
I agree. Well, you said you,
Well, to be, I don't know what projects, but again, it was sold, how it was sold was for overall over maintenance of everything. And otherwise, it's just basically a dedicated additional Winnicott roads.
I don't want to keep it as, again, I'm super conservative and I always stack cash back, but I don't want to take that money and stack cash back, is my opinion. How we sold that to the community, I would spend it.
I don't think we're trying to stack cash back. It's, do we spend it all on roads or we do roads plus?
a
To be
different
determined,
expense.
to be whatever you determined there. I just didn't think project, it's like whatever there.
And, you know, it's the way the bylaw was, or the vote was done, it's anywhere in O and M or CAR, which is a privilege, obviously. You could say, you know, we said we don't want to use it for salaries because, you know, you can't depend on it year to year, but you could use it on anything in that, popular work.
What's everyone think about the other 100 then? Any suggestions, just so we can think about it instead of just leaving it TBD? Do you have a suggestion?
Well, I mean, back to the point earlier, so Rich, if you had $250,000 in roads, Scotland, and, you know, what? Could you easily spend that, or would that be not productive spend?
Well, just to put a relative $250,000 with the bottom mile and 2 inch overlay.
You could spend it in no time.
Yeah.
Once you get the project, if you could run through the extra.
Yeah, I agree, so that, I just wanted to verify that.
And then just throw something out there. Talk about donations and getting something done. There's a playground group trying to get donations to do the playgrounds. If they come up with $100,000 for playgrounds to do one, then it takes about $100,000 for playgrounds, you know, it costs another $100,000 to do the other playground.
I'll do the playground for 90,000.
Yeah.
That's crazy that it costs 90,000 for that playground.
Well, this is shade there. Yeah.
My thing was, it's just, we get a lot of flack over where this does, and I like the idea of spending it on roads, because every person drives.
Gets the benefit from it.
Not everyone doesn't. I don't have a kid, but I don't hold that against me right now, but again, not everyone has a kid, obviously, that plays in the playground. Not everyone's got a boat on the lake, not everyone's got a club in the golf course.
And
If you road,
If you
I'm all
look
for
at,
fixing the roads.
look at the people who have provided feedback and surveys, of it 3 to 1 would be roads.
I agree, that's what I'm saying.
And roads versus parks.
Dylan, in this meeting for next year, I would basically spend it all on that road. Again, I'm one of 9, and that was just my decision. So
So that would give
So
me
we look at-
$250,000 out of our $350,000 out of administration. And currently somewhere around 125 or 130,000.
No, it's 100 for road material.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great, I mean, unless you had another value specific thing that we want.
No, I mean, I'm all in favor of roads, you know that. My only concern was same thing as putting it all in one bucket is great, but also it's trying to get that it's not all going in one
But
bucket.
that's
Trying to
just this one.
diversify.
That's just this 1 year.
That's just this year.
And you
Again,
like,
next year,
and
Dylan's opinion at this moment in time for completions. Again, I wanted everyone's feedback. That's just kind of what I was in my head. And it's easily spent. And we're not waiting on Bluestone or so-and-so contracting. It's, again, you gotta eat the papers here, but once they're started, whether they do half a mile or a mile and a half, it's once the project starts, it's going, right? Fair.
Yes.
And the thing is that, I mean, 3 years ago before Rich came on, I mean, we were shuffling through directors of public works. And so not a lot of road work was getting done.
Sure.
So I mean,
Yeah, it's not.
he's gonna pay catch up.
And a lot of the money was reallocated too for budget.
Yes,
And when I started that first year, we had out of the 100,000, 25,000 was for roads. Whole budget was like 275.
Right.
Half of what this is.
We got the road in front of my house, paid it because Sam lived there, so that's,
Yeah.
yeah, great road.
On the roads.
We can just move the next one down, the backtrack if we want to. The next big item is the lodge. This year we had it break even budget. Right now, we're on a run rate loss of 80,000. For her latest numbers, I think we're
I'm at 145.
a negative 135. So when you talk about balancing the budget again, what we did last year, basically make the lodge break even to balance the budget. Where we are right now, we did the same thing and balanced the budget right there.
And that is with like a 7% increase in revenue.
But
And more revenue. Open 7 days a week, open holidays, fine staff.
So
yeah,
revenue is one thing,
Well, he made a
but in-
comment.
income is another.
Yeah.
Right, so if you're open more hours, are you
you
making?
got more salary.
Oh, yeah.
I would love to chime in. This
$3
building is open 24/7, 365. The expenses associated, the high-end expenses, minus your dollar per hour, minus the propane and kitchen costs, is on in this building. We do have some of it separate.
Totally separate out. I mean, the rest of this building, air conditioning, electrical, all that stuff.
The $19 getting air conditioning when patrons are not in.
Okay, minus, yeah, but the 19 total versus the square footage of this whole building.
Fair.
So, I mean,
It is split, so it's not complete.
yeah, so my
It's still-
point, the increment, what I would like, I'm not disagreeing. My point is, I would love to see,
The incremental cost difference between the
Because-
$19 and the kitchen.
I love revenue and I like income more. So if we could say, all right, can we make money by staying open longer? Right? If we can't, then it's just a value piece or, member service. And what's the, how do you equate that versus
Yeah.
dollar spent?
We had 2 profitable months. Every other month has been a negative, so maybe before, the more you're open, the more money.
No.
But that's what I would like to see, right? So is that something that Ronnie and Jeremy could help us with and say,
Yeah.
all right, if we open on Mondays and, you're gonna have to guess low, but,
Yeah.
is that something where we get more revenue than expense or the other way around? If it's more expense than revenue, then I don't know why we do it.
So
Unless there's huge demand.
You can't forecast, how many people are gonna come here, you're never gonna get that.
Well,
But I also feel like sometimes.
And more
it's
people
not
show up on
open when
Monday.
It should be open.
There's a lot of holidays when every
Sunday afternoon.
1,500 lots is here.
On
Sunday
a beautiful
afternoon,
patio.
Monday when people aren't playing golf, they would love to be sitting in there drinking cold beer or whatever. I think you can fix that with some revenue.
I totally agree, and that's.
I don't know that you'll ever, I totally understand what you're saying. I just don't know that you'll ever get there on paper to prove it. I think you're gonna have to try it for a year to figure out what to do.
Yep, I'm fine with that too, so, totally fine.
Well, we're gonna have to get some timing stabilized because we've been open on Sunday evenings and we're not open on Sunday evenings, and then we
But that's a
are not
decision.
being open here, and then we're not.
In this room, and he needs to portray it to his employees, in my opinion.
appropriate staffing levels for the.
Yeah, I don't know, I think we're,
Limited menu.
I think that's an understanding, but I think that's Rich's call, being the manager, we've brought feedback guidance, but Rich needs to be the one. He runs the lot, right? With the fact of,
But if we're using it as an amenity that the 9 of us want to, whether it makes money or not, call it an amenity. If we want it to be done a certain way, we need to provide him the feedback.
I agree.
Those with his.
So
I don't think you need to go talk to Jeremy, don't open on Sunday nights. Obviously, that's his job, but I think we need to provide that feedback based on member feedback, which the 9 of us all hear regularly to get this.
And part of that was a strategy, I mean, still, we're losing money this year, but much better than the year before. And some of it was a gamble, you wanna say, but we were pretty, certain things he added, a bunch of block. A lot of the entertainment expenses he put in, brought in more revenue. Again, I don't know how we could delineate the exact profit center for all of those. But we lost $135,000 last year, I think, so it's a $55,000 improvement this year with improving the entertainment and some of the other events.
It's a lot of entertainment. I mean,
Yeah.
people come, if
Yeah.
there's somebody out there,
Well,
I mean, you could even probably do a trivia night, people show up.
Yeah.
I mean, people just love to congregate and
I guess that's my point, we gamble this year, if you want
It's
to,
good.
we can gamble this next year and be open more and see what happens.
Yeah.
But
I think the
either
bigger,
which way, it's a risk, we should risk, for this year, we can risk that.
the bigger question from my point of view is, the board last year said it has to break, we're gonna budget it break even. even if there's no clear path to make it break even because they wanted to. My discussion with Rich was a budget should be based on reality, not on desire or hope. So conceptually, Ray's talked to me about this, or we talked to ways and means around, the lodge and what's the role of the lodge. So is everyone conceptually okay not budgeting to have the break even?
I think that was strictly Bill though. It had nothing to do with me because the lodge is an amenity, period, end of story. I'm not the treasurer, I won't be here next year, y'all can do whatever y'all wanna do. It's an amenity, golf course is an amenity, we spend millions of dollars. And I wanna go to the lodge, I wanna go to the lodge, I want this meeting to end, so I can go to the lodge right now.
Okay, we appreciate it.
I know, I was saying, like, I love the lodge,
In theory,
I can do it when it's raining,
I think
sunshiny,
I would rather lose $50,000 and it be open 7 days a week
absolutely.
than lose $50,000 and open 5.5 days a week because we don't have common hours on Sunday or Tuesday or whatever.
I'm listening, so
You take
So I
the
just
gamble.
wanted to make that very clear, because to your point, it was a big discussion last year. And it was decided a certain way, and we were going a different way this year, and I just wanted to make sure that was alert and everyone was coming.
Ray wants to spend this extra
The
$100,000.
reason I didn't, when I was treasurer, didn't report every single month and beat everybody down with how much the lodge was losing is because I didn't care. I don't think it matters. And what Jeremy's doing.
To some point, it doesn't, but it does.
Sure, like,
There's a chance that
if you saw people not going there and they're still
there's
open.
zero chance. Like,
If you're the Panda Express in Gainesville, for instance, I mean, like, you gotta shut down. If you're, Taco Bueno, they didn't make it. But that's not how it is here. Especially with Jeremy, I think he's done great, give him more free rein to create events and things like they on the patio last night, didn't even know, I mean,
But just part three.
great.
And a little more part, may need more revenue
Yeah.
generator, if we have more events over there, that the lodge will make money on those.
when's the part 3 gonna be? What day?
Yeah,
is the
what
part
days
3
are
gonna
gonna be closed?
Monday,
That's gonna be Monday and
Tuesday.
Why would we have the part 3 closed on the day of the main course?
Yeah,
They have to attend to the part three course to get that ready. You can't get both courses ready at the exact same time right now.
Staff.
They may in the future, we gotta figure out how to do that right now logistically. They could possibly open late on Tuesday on the part three, but they have to get the main course ready first, then go to the part three.
I'm also that. I want the part 3 to be closed Tuesday. I want the main course to continue to be closed Monday. Why would you not have one course open on Monday so someone could?
Well, again, staff good. I mean, yeah, they increase everything to get that work done. So
So to close it on Tuesday and Wednesday, part 3, and
Yeah.
Staff and pro shop too,
yeah, you can change things around.
Yeah, you
That's the way
could,
they-
you can.
Pro shop.
you have to go to the pro shop though, because it's
Yeah.
on your
You
T
do
set,
have-
you gotta check in for the part three and drive all the way
You
there.
can do it with the starter. You can do what she's.
Yeah.
But I think that's
He's a marshal.
crazy to me to be closed on the part 3 today.
And then,
Yeah,
So.
and then we've talked about it, male and temporary, we wanna.
I agree. We're figuring it out.
Others got it figured out first.
no, thank you for that
The
discussion.
next discussion we're gonna hear is what are they gonna do with the cart pass on the part three? Cause I played it last week.
It's not,
It's not our,
it's not.
Looking for a donation.
well, I'm wondering what'll happen to the walking trail. That's gonna be nice when people are gonna claim that they're driving their golf cart through hay and mud.
They're looking at it, trying to figure out what they can do.
I thought it
Well, I
was
mean, it
gonna
was originally sold to not to be.
I know, it's
not
supposed to
have
be a
golf
walking
carts, but
course.
Everybody kept pushing to
I
take
know.
carts on it, so it was supposed to be a walking.
Let's
Anyway,
not have-
I know.
Moving along, past this,
What it evolved into.
any section 8 discussion?
I'll go back up to 7 if I can real quick. One of the things that I think so the salaries, even though they're high right now and over, are at 95%.
Yes, my best is.
So they are at 95%, so that's already implemented. When you talk about strategies from last year, we had the lodge break even and we went 95 salary. So we're still implementing the 95% utilization for that.
I'm not
Like talked about the recruiting costs.
Rich, I'm comfortable going less than 95%. So, I
We
mean,
may do that too if we have to, but like hopefully we do all these other things, will keep us at.
That's a catch 22.
Yeah.
understood.
You really should try and staff to what you believe you
Right,
need and
that's-
stay staffed at what.
You're never gonna be 100%. And especially with
Wow.
lodge and maintenance people, there's always gonna be some turnover, so you're never gonna, unless you overstaff. You know, intentionally to try to get to 100% utilization, which, you know, we haven't done. So, yeah, I'm not saying go to 80, but I'm saying, you know, if you going to 93 makes a material impact and helps. I'm fine with that. I mean, when I worked at Fidelity, staff said 10% or 90% utilization.
Yeah.
So. Is you want, right, to use every dollar you can in a productive way, but just sitting there waiting for salaries that don't come.
Yeah.
You're kind of wasting that money. I agree.
Okay, we'll look at that as we adjust the budget, see if we can get it down.
But yeah, I mean, don't pull on the lever unless you have to, but I'm just saying I'm open to. Picking that different.
Now, you go back down to number 8, some of these numbers change in 8, and we're still already noted in all the assumptions.
Property tax was the one that jumped out at me.
Yeah.
And that was
That's
based
the
on our actual statements that we got from the county.
It's the bond, everybody's saying it.
But that's probably too, moving that part 3 from ag to,
No,
that is not in that.
that's already paid, we already paid the taxes on that, that's gonna get reduced back down from nominal value like everything. Our property taxes overall are very high for the POA, we pay nominal value on everything, so. I forget what our actual property tax is, if you take like all our properties, we don't pay that much. Percentage wise, it's gonna go up a lot, but the overall number is as we go.
Okay.
And we paid the backpack, not backpack, but the rollback.
Or I knew we did
That
that
was-
already.
That was like 20 grand, we paid that last year.
Yeah, I just would assume they would have assessed that golf course at $10 million or something. Like they did people's houses, so
Yeah.
I just assume that was partially that amongst other things consistently going up.
And then the other one we talked about was the water, and I don't have that confirmed, that's kind of what. People are saying that it's gonna be 30%. Last year, the water department told me what it was gonna be, and the whole thing happened, so I don't think they're gonna let me know for sure what's gonna be this year. But, I mean, so we're gonna do worst case scenario though, and do 30 or 33%, 33%, so. Maybe the water
A little
will come in
birdie
line.
that talked to another little birdie told me that it would be 33%.
Yeah, good.
Well, with that, you're-
They did.
But eventually, I mean, they're gonna stop, that, but, a couple of years.
Well, I understood, but you know, I mean, it is what it is, but it's just like, yeah, it's gonna be right, that's for sure.
And then that's huge for the POA, you talk about property taxes, the water, that difference, that's $50,000 increase in our water bill.
Yeah.
So that's a huge hit. So those are some of the factors of why it's increased so much from what you had. Are we?
Section 9 contracts, I have 2 notes. Do we like absolute? Do we want to make a change? And do we like branch land? Do we want to make a change? I wouldn't change solid waste in a million years. I think they do a good job in trying to get someone to come up here. I think so.
We were looking at a couple, different contractors for HVAC, and we may do a trial like for the lodge and use Heroes for the lodge, and then keep absolute the other. The only issues, and it's not a ton of money, but like Heroes was 50% more their service than what absolute. So it's a.
Where's the Heroes out of?
Sanger, I believe.
We use Hesse Schneer, John. We have a contract with the.
I tried to use Tessie, I could try them again, they wouldn't even touch us before.
He was out there for the part 3 last week.
He's a donor.
Yeah, he's a
But
donor.
I'm just saying, I tried to get them to do a service contract with us and he wouldn't do it.
Why?
I could try again, but they wouldn't do it.
Yeah, you ought to, I know him. You reach out to them in the middle of that.
Okay,
I would reach out to them again. They do a fantastic job. In my
Yeah.
opinion. So again, I hadn't heard of that other one, else I wouldn't even say anything. So, rangeland, I just heard you bicker about before getting things done. So I would.
well, you talk about us not getting things done from the POA set, that's how we feel about Rangeland. It's
Yeah, I
been
would cut
how many years and
Pay them
stuff that was supposed to be
$120.
done. The previous December, we're still working on, we still have issues.
Your IT expense was, I had 123 in my head when I looked through this. So
And as far as somebody who's supposed to be here, not really on call well, we don't get very good service response. Which we could just get from like the 20 or somebody else that's out there. For $120,000 to retire a full time, IT person actually have them on site, I don't know.
So,
$120 grand you can, but I don't know how much And if you find $120,000 guy, he's gonna want to tell people what to do. The $120,000 guy needs to be the guy doing it. Here.
Exactly. That's what I said.
He doesn't get any staff.
That's what I said. That's what I said.
He's the judge here.
You just have to put him in a truck.
Yeah.
Well, he's a one-man show pretty much, except he's got like a help desk that you call.
Yeah.
But he's a one-man show anyways, so you can hire somebody to do it.
I mean, to me, that's like an RFP, we should be
Yeah.
jamming up as we speak, right?
Yeah. That's why I put the dates on there too, so I know when we have to act.
I would reach out to Hesse just again as a general follow-up. He isn't, again, we use him. I forgot that he was a donor until she said it. And then, yeah, that ranch land, there's a gajillion of them.
Yeah, I think
Is
so
there-
too. Somebody that would be looking to
The
supplement.
biggest
their-
issue is the
their
lodge. They
business,
seem to have repetitive issues with the lodge. That's why I was saying this would be
huge
quick, and we can't get somebody to take care of everything, to have them at least take care of the lodge.
We use they're smaller. I don't know if they want to take this on. We use a company called Gerat Technologies.
Use them.
Fantastic. I'll share their info to you just if you want to quote them. They're not gonna hurt my feelings either way. So we use Gerat and we've used a company Webfire or something. I can't remember the name before it. But yeah, I would get quotes on that. That's 120 grand for, I don't know what all they do. Obviously, I don't touch everything, but that seems like a lot.
Yeah, that's part of it.
Yeah,
Y'all don't have that many computer dwelling employees.
Yeah.
Where like if they do, like ours is $90 per laptop, per employee with a laptop. And I don't know how Rangeland bills is, but 120 grand is.
It's similar to structure.
Yeah. Anything else on Rich's recommendations that we want to talk about?
I think you hit all the high points right now.
Yep. What's the, I got my pages mixed up, so what do y'all want to go to? What's next on
Do you
your,
want to just go to the proposed budget sheet, the overall?
is that this one right here? Again, I got it mixed up, the blue one. That's fine. My comments were basically the same on both. We had a lot of feedback. We're trying to make up some ground too with removing these recruiting fees, but we've had a lot of feedback about security writing citations. So I'm not necessarily saying removing staff members, but I would like to know, and it'd be hard to get that granular, what it costs per Tacoma to drive around and call it. I get beat up with, well, why is security driving 600 hours a month? There's not that many hours a month. Like, well, times two people are driving, right?
Yeah.
So what?
That's 24/7.
What do the members really want out of security? Do we want the gate and the safety field? And do we really need to be doing traffic patrol, call it? We want to be check 5 points every 3 hours.
There's two things. One thing they really don't like is just them stationed doing traffic. The patrols themselves, I've heard way more. They appreciate them driving around and being everywhere and being present. They don't appreciate them sitting someplace just trying to get speed.
Oh, yeah, remember.
Yeah.
So this just
I
as you
think
think about
that's a difference or.
a huge expense and again, that was one of my favorite things about this place when we said Lake Golf Course secure.
Yeah.
There's a difference in secure and then patrolling, and I think there's a happy medium there. So that was just a comment I had about it.
We're barely scratching the surface on coverage for the lake. We finally started something, but some of that coming off the roads could go.
It's kind of what I've been trying to preach, and then everyone's got different opinions. So we've got officers on that security and safety committee or whatever, and they love patrol. That's what they did, right? So I was like, I'm trying to talk them out of patrol. That's what they've done their whole life. So I was like, well, I don't think it's our job to patrol. And I would argue that some of our patrol is in the broad daylight. I'm more interested in patrol at pitch black at 3 a.m. when the kids are ding dong ditching or when people are jumping that back barbed wire fence. So again, it was a conversation I think worth having. So that's a big number in there, 850 grand. I don't know what that's related to Tacoma tires and brakes and gas.
That's mostly salaries we talked about, not the Tacomas themselves. It's the hours are spent in it.
Mhm.
Salaries are, for the salaries for the 847, it's usually 547 is salary. Usually.
So yeah, again, I'm not necessarily trying to make people lose their jobs, but you're spending 20 grand a year trying to recruit the last 2 members. We've got a solid 13 members. You take some people off the road certain hours of the day, and then now you're finding security and you're not wasting recruiting dollars and you're not wasting Tacoma tires and gas, et cetera. Something we're talking about.
We do go through a lot of time.
And oil changes and
600 hours a month at probably 12 miles an hour. I mean, we could probably figure out how far to drive. and it makes sense.
I know.
And then they're driving in the worst situations ever. When you're going on the highway, going straight,
Yeah.
we're going like this on the winding roads all day, so. That's just a big number. Our total budget's what, 6.5, and we're at 850 on just security. And again, I don't necessarily whack that number, but
Yeah.
utilize it differently than patrol. And that was I think there was feedback.
Or
on it.
make it
Yeah.
lake patrol.
Totally agree. That's something to talk about. There's a lot of feedback on this, on negative feedback towards security on people getting citations.
Harass is the right word.
Harassed by
That's the
security.
word.
And then there's different, again, there's just different avenues you can do stuff with those dollars. So again, I don't know that specifically patrolling the streets is the best use of those funds. So again, wanted to talk about it. I don't know how you get that granular, but
Or maybe it's even just a culture of having better training over this community that is like-minded, and we're here for that, not to harass or create ill will, because, and I've been here 20 years and I've never heard so many people in the last 2 years tell me how unhappy they are with how they feel about security.
that member survey, we barely scratched the surface on
We
it. That
didn't
was
even
the
read
first
it.
thing, that was the first thing you title a comment. So
Well,
I think once you get down in that survey, there's a ton of negative feedback towards, and I would argue that that's the street patrol piece. So,
Forget which question it was, but security enforcement issue. And again, you're looking at a lot of comments, but I think that didn't count. Out of the 300 comments, and that was the most, because we had the comments, but I think there was 26 negative comments for security. Well, now percentage wise, that's whatever, but still a high number.
correct.
Yeah.
So I think that needs to be something to look at, as Dan mentioned, like we're doing these things, so we allocate these funds appropriately. If members don't appreciate us doing traffic violations, we need to stop doing traffic violations to some degree, in my opinion.
But
So,
it just-
again, doing something reckless and crazy is a safety issue, not a true traffic violation. not
And then I don't
necessarily-
know. Yeah, they kind of happened at the same time, but then try to figure out which one, but a couple of years ago. Speeding off, everything was an issue, they wanted to crack down on it, they lowered the speed limit from 30 to 25. So. A couple of years ago, it was just the opposite, people were. Colin, you need to station your car here, station this patrol here, patrol, you need to give out tickets, you need to lower the speed limit.
I've had
So,
a gajillion
3
calls and never
ago-
one was stationing a car, so I think it's the sentiment has changed.
Yeah.
So, and that may be back to.
No, but I'm just saying, a
Called out
couple of years
stale
ago,
comments.
just,
I think
just
that
the
might be
opposite.
stale
Yeah.
information.
I think it's too just the approach
Oh.
the security's taking with their way they're approaching the members. It's more, they're not listening, they're not sympathetic, it's more accusing.
Punitive is.
Punitive is the right word, and also just saying a warning goes a long way, because I've had several people tell me that they felt like they were basically treated very poorly with the way they were spoken to. And you get a population like this, I don't want to be spoken down to. It creates a lot of bad ill will.
I mean,
I've been adult, and all of us are. We're not out, selling drugs in Gainesville. Don't talk to me.
Kelly told me several times that she's really counseled, especially one guy. Who's apparently not the most warm person.
With the last name with the M.
But it did very well. But I mean, she's
Not
tried really
wants
hard.
the kids either.
I
is
think
what
there's
I've
I think
heard.
there's a long way to go. I think that's a ton of, I told y'all when we did that member survey, I don't want to do a member survey and not do anything with the results.
Right.
I think that was a huge piece of the results. There's other things, obviously.
So the ending to that survey, right, was that we did launch Lake and golf this time as the involving one. Next time it's public works, security, and board governance. So is the 3 kind of drill down items. We haven't created to find, questions, what that will be, but there's other opportunity where people have these. Another opportunity, quantitative and qualitatively to express their opinions. Because I definitely have heard people say, hey, speeding is an issue, but I agree that the amount of people saying, hey, someone's parked in someone else's parking in driveway and, hiding behind bushes, that's just not, it's not what we're trying. And I agree with that 100%. We gotta keep it safe, no sidewalks, kids and dogs and golf carts. We gotta figure that out.
There's a balance of respect too, because if you're doing those things, it does come off as somebody you don't want to respect.
Mhm.
I would definitely think there's got to be a you gotta find a balance. In a community like this, especially the way we all talk is you gotta, you know, we're all out here for the same reasons, you know, to have a peaceful.
And there is an actual difference between a patrol unit that's sitting parked, just running radar versus one that's moving around looking for things that are
Absolutely.
out of the ordinary.
Safety issue.
Yeah.
Safety issues.
I'm being more voluntarily out there to help versus looking like you're trying to create a problem for somebody.
And even if it was just, I turn on my lights, if I see somebody going faster than what they should be, you know, I would assume if it's me, I slow down right away. Maybe I wasn't paying attention, you know,
Yeah.
end of story, you know, you've helped me understand that I was out of bounds a little bit.
I think there has to be a balance there, because we still have to enforce the speed.
For
I
sure.
think we have to have it just to the level of the.
Yeah, I would never ever advocate for somebody getting away with something. That's not what I'm trying to say
No,
at all.
no,
I just,
Yeah.
you know, it just kind of, the way you communicate with people goes a long way.
You know, it seems to me that what we've done, we're lowering that speed limit, has slowed everyone down. I mean, it certainly has me. And I'm, you know, not the best driver.
Well, if you get a speeding ticket along with it,
Yeah.
that definitely.
Okay, we beat security a little bit here. Any other high level budgeted items on this first page that anyone wants to?
Yeah, so golf course. So, Rich, I know Bill was big on percent of budget on golf related stuff. It seems like that number's kind of trending down a little bit as far as percent of expense versus total budget. Is that
17%.
you
Well,
add bowling in and it's closer to 20, but
Well, I mean, we got golf professional, but I just, you know, what it's gone up or different. I mean, it's $40,000 higher this year than last year.
yeah, but I think in years past, it was like 23, 24, 25% of the budget.
Yeah.
So
But what you have there is the lodge really went up. The lodge become, I mean, it's gone up 30% in what, a couple of years.
yeah, very.
But again, the bottom line is spend versus income and what.
Right,
Yeah.
the revenue has increased a
Yeah.
lot, so it's balanced out. And
Sure.
you talk about the overall budget, the percentage, why the golf has gone down, because the lodge has gone up. So my years look good.
Well, I see what you're saying.
Okay, so,
I think it,
because of the volume.
I was gonna say, we robbed Peter to pay Paul.
no, but I'm not going there. I'm just saying perceptually,
Yeah.
very few people are saying that we're way over index on.
No, I get it.
golf. And, you know, in the past, he said he's one out of every $4 goes to golf. You know, that's another, line item that people, that's the big attention.
But Rita's not here, but hers, the same thing, one of the things she pushed before was, Dylan said had to be open, get more people using the lodge, they are. The revenue's up, but the number of tickets is extremely up, you can tell by how busy it is. So that's a benefit in itself.
But I think that's also a change in management.
Yeah,
Oh, that's all,
service,
yeah.
almost a-
quality,
everything,
everything.
but that's what I said, if we put the money into it,
Right.
you get the revenue back, that's something you do. Golf is something, again, it doesn't make
It
any,
doesn't make
make any
any
money.
No.
You know,
We don't have any revenue to offset the results.
A little, but
yeah,
not dramatic, yeah, I agree.
I mean, the lodge, same thing, you can spend more money on entertainment to bring people in, you get revenue from it, so you get a return on your investment. Even if it maybe not be equal or profitable, at least you're getting a return on it.
Agree, and I'm for the 7 more hours, et cetera. And again, I'm advocating for that, obviously. We tried, again, Maria kind of said it, I think Bill was adamant about trying to get it to break even or getting close. I don't necessarily know that 7 days a week will get it to break even, but I think it's worth trying, and that's, again, one board member's opinion here, though. Any other high level front page discussions? I don't know how granular y'all wanted to get in this meeting. I think we have separate meetings.
This was a separate one, I want to kind of get an overall, because go back and adjust some of the things, you know, same thing with the initiation fee and a couple other things, figure out what else we need to adjust. Next time we'll come through, we can actually hit the departments.
Yep.
Because these are just the sums, we can get into the departments, we also are still waiting to get some feedback from the department heads to finalize that.
So again, based on that, what he just said, unless y'all have anything specific for these other large pages in the back, I think we wait till it's department time to go through them. Again, I just wanted to hit this high level stuff. Any feedback on the potential fee schedule Crystal and Rich have put together?
I just wanted to make it that we really didn't increase any fees, all the fees are the same except for your maintenance and your reserve which go up. And then in correlations, the constitution and initiation fee go up. Because they go up the percentage as does the used car.
Do we have enough? I did have one question. Do we have enough? How mad, let me reiterate, let me try this again. How mad would people get if we raised guest fees?
It's been what, 2 years? 2 or 3 years.
At least 2 years, I haven't done it.
Since we raised guest fees.
If we raise which one?
18 hole course, specific to the 18 hole course guest fees.
I would tell you this is not a 75. I shouldn't say that because I've not played a lot in the Metroplex, but I don't believe this is a $75 a round golf course.
What is it?
Prop
50.
60 maybe.
Oh, you think we're high?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, there's prices all over the place. There's ones that are a lot
So
higher.
I'll tell you what, I could go do some research just looking at golf courses that believe are comparable
Okay.
to this.
Just a question.
And the reason that is
Meeting.
where we're located, you know, and again, the
Is it the amenities around the golf course or is it the grass and fairway specifically?
fairways are as best as you'll find, except for the top end and country clubs. Because of their budget, the greens and general overall condition. The higher up you go, the more money you're spending to manicure them, you know, so our greens, and again, we're talking about green replacement here potentially. They're close to the end of their life cycle. That's unfortunate because I can go into Oklahoma, into the rural Oklahoma and play on better greens than we have here at Lake Kiowa on a $35 or $40 round.
So you think that we're high end fairway, middle to low on greens?
Yes,
Just curious.
yes.
And is the experience, from an experience perspective, again, everyone likes that gate. Is it the other amenities, the lodge, the 19th hole before and after, the pro shop that keeps it at 75 to keep it from going to
The
100?
layout of this course is fantastic. You know, when you think of playing circle, it's not just flat. It's sort of flat, but 16 is a signature hole. You know, I mean, even 14 is another one. It's the uniqueness of the golf course, you know, and being in a community, you know, well, you don't have many places where you go around and you get to play across a lake.
Right.
There are holes that play along the lake and across the lake. That helps.
Sure.
Add to the experience.
But you think 75 is the number? Again, I haven't went to a golf committee meeting.
That's pretty much top end.
Yeah.
So I would say legal.
Yeah, I mean, I know. Like playing tennis on the weekends out there in the border. Get the competition runs around that on the weekend. So, you know. Thinking like tennis, not in better shape.
Yeah, and you'll run into that, but against newer. You're not getting the standard public to come here and pay that either. So, you know, you're bringing in relatives,
Family.
with family.
It's almost costing the member, whether it's not costing the, it's not supposed to necessarily.
It is.
Again, I'm just a question.
That's fair. I didn't think about that one.
Yeah.
You're really,
It's my buddy, my brother-in-law. So
you're putting it on your lot.
Yeah, that's probably at least 2/3 family relative versus a standard, yes.
Good enough. Just a simple question. Sure. Anything else on fee schedule?
Just with FYI, if you add up the dues and the reserve fund, you have $359.98 a month. In the new.
including garbage.
Including garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate that it's gotta go up. I just don't think there's another way.
Oh,
I don't really want to have this discussion with this 9 and another open forum. Is everyone in agreement for $359.98? Basically, I guess is my question.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's come to quite 5%.
4.8 is
Because that one's on 3.
Yeah, because on bank golf is 3%.
yeah, 4.8.
I don't think there's any of the reserve funds you want to cut right now. Or have anything, I mean, all the reserve funds need maximum amount, maintenance we need maximum amount.
Yeah, I know we can talk about it more, but as I said, you look at all of the golf course fund, they will go to zero, not too distant future. And if you actually what people want with the lake, which is to dredge every code, be broken. and
Well,
Sure.
we're,
So-
we're looking at some alternative methods other than just the standard dredging, but that's gonna cost money.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah, but I mean, you have $700,000, still, no matter, I mean, it's still $10 million on spend over the next 10 years if to get any real
Yes.
improvement. So, right, you're in a 7% in a funding rate.
Yeah.
But I mean, the way you budgeted, it makes it look good because you're only spending what you got. So by definition, your funding rate is pretty good.
again, I think at the end of the day, based on our analysis, feedback on the members. No one wants the roads to fail. No one wants any of the public works call it to fail. There's no reason, I don't think there's any situation we can't. Again, I don't want to pay more money just like the next guy, but I just don't think there's a reason we don't raise.
And the other one is salaries for employees. Trying to get
Yes,
that up.
yeah.
That's just what it is.
Okay. Any other budget related items you want to go over in this meeting? The feedback for Rich, we discussed kind of over and over here, so I don't have anything else to add. Moving along here, does anyone have any separate from the budget additional business? I hope not, because we lost our quorum anyway, we can't vote on it. Comments from members, I think it's still empty behind me. We do not have a reason to go to executive session. So I would entertain the motion.
So very,
Okay, there you go. Got a motion by Chris,
Second.
second by Larry. All in favor?
I.
We can't vote.
Well, you-